Yes, it is permissible to mount a 1900 box or handy box utilizing the two holes located on the side of the box to secure it to a stud positioned beneath the drywall wall. This represents a frequently employed technique for affixing electrical boxes within walls. Here are the detailed steps involved in executing this procedure. Firstly, precisely mark the intended location of the box on the wall surface. Employ a pencil to designate the precise center point of the box upon the wall. Secondly, create two pilot holes that penetrate the drywall layer. Select a drill bit with a diameter marginally smaller than that of the screws designated for securing the box. Position these pilot holes approximately 1 inch from the uppermost and lowermost edges of the box. Thirdly, carefully insert the screws into the previously drilled pilot holes. Guide the screws into these holes, ensuring they protrude approximately 1/4 inch from the drywall surface. Fourthly, position the box in alignment with the screws. Ensure that the holes within the box correspond accurately with the protruding screws and gently press the box onto these screws. Fifthly, proceed to tighten the screws to establish a secure connection. Employ a screwdriver to meticulously tighten the screws until the box is firmly and securely affixed to the wall surface. Here are supplementary recommendations to enhance the mounting of a 1900 box or handy box. Confirm that the stud is situated directly behind the central point of the box. This alignment guarantees the box is securely mounted and eliminates the potential for it to detach from the wall. Employ screws of adequate length to effectively penetrate the drywall and engage with the stud. Ideally, these screws should measure at least 1 inch in length. In instances where the box is being mounted within a newly constructed wall, it may be necessary to create an aperture within the drywall to accommodate the box. Utilize a drywall saw to carefully cut an opening that is slightly larger than the physical dimensions of the box. When installing electrical boxes, it is crucial to adhere to the National Electrical Code, or NEC. While the specific requirements can vary depending on the addition of the NEC in effect and local regulations, some general principles apply. Ensure that the box is appropriately sized for the number and size of conductors that will be entering it. NEC 314.16 provides guidance on calculating box fill. The box must be securely mounted to prevent it from being dislodged or damaged. As previously described, using the stud is a common and effective method. When working with metal boxes, grounding is essential. The box should be properly grounded according to NEC 250. Always use approved connectors or clamps to secure cables entering the box. This prevents strain on the conductors and ensures a secure connection. All work must comply with local electrical codes and regulations. It is always a good idea to consult with a qualified electrician if you are unsure about any aspect of the installation. For securing the box to the stud, consider the type of screws being used. Drywall screws are generally not recommended for this purpose as they are brittle and can shear off under stress. Instead, use wood screws or construction screws that are designed for secure fastening into wood. The length of the screw is critical. It needs to be long enough to penetrate the drywall and bite into the stud with sufficient depth to provide a secure hold. A screw that is too short will not provide adequate holding power. A screw that is too long could potentially protrude through the back of the stud, creating a hazard. Before drilling any pilot holes, use an electronic stud finder or manual methods to positively identify the location of the stud. Do not rely solely on visual estimations or assumptions. If you are unsure, probe with a small nail to confirm the stud's edge. When drilling pilot holes, be careful not to drill too deeply. You only need to penetrate the drywall and create a starting point for the screw in the stud. Drilling too deeply can weaken the stud. When tightening the screws, avoid over-tightening. Over-tightening can strip the screw threads in the stud or damage the box. Tighten the screws until they are snug and the box is firmly held in place. If you are working with an existing wall, be aware of the potential for hidden wiring or plumbing. Use caution when drilling or cutting into the wall to avoid damaging these systems. If you encounter any unexpected obstructions, stop immediately and investigate. If the box is being installed in a damp or wet location, use a box that is rated for that environment. These boxes are typically made of non-metallic materials and have gaskets to prevent water from entering. When running cables into the box, be sure to leave enough slack for making connections. However, avoid leaving excessive slack, as this can clutter the box and make it difficult to work in. Secure the cables to the box using appropriate cable clamps or connectors. This will prevent strain on the connections and ensure that the cables are properly supported. Label all wires and connections clearly. This will make it easier to troubleshoot problems in the future. When making connections, use wire connectors that are appropriate for the size and type of wire being used. Follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully to ensure a secure and reliable connection. Always double-check your work before energizing the circuit. Make sure that all connections are tight and that there are no exposed wires or other potential hazards. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is always best to hire a qualified electrician. Electricity can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others. After the electrical box is securely mounted, consider the aesthetic aspect. If the drywall around the box is damaged or uneven, you may want to patch it with drywall compound and sand it smooth. This will provide a clean and professional look. When selecting a cover plate for the box, choose one that is appropriate for the type of device being installed. For example, if you are installing a switch, use a switch plate. If you are installing an outlet, use an outlet plate. Ensure that the cover plate fits snugly against the wall and that there are no gaps or openings. This will prevent drafts and keep insects from entering the box. Regularly inspect the electrical box and its connections for any signs of damage or wear. If you notice any problems, such as loose wires or cracked insulation, have them repaired immediately. Consider using a level to ensure the box is mounted straight. A crooked box can be visually unappealing and may also make it difficult to install the cover plate. When working with multiple boxes in close proximity, ensure that they are aligned and spaced evenly. This will create a more professional and organized appearance. If you are installing boxes in a finished wall, consider using an old workbox. These boxes are designed to be installed without having to remove a large section of drywall. They typically have clamps or wings that grip the back of the drywall to hold the box in place. When using an old workbox, be sure to follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully. These boxes are not as strong as boxes that are mounted to studs, so it is important to install them correctly. If you are installing a heavy device in the box, such as a ceiling fan, you may need to use a special fan-rated box. These boxes are designed to support the weight of the fan and prevent it from falling. When using a fan-rated box, be sure to follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully. These boxes typically require special mounting hardware and wiring techniques. Always disconnect the power before working on any electrical circuits. This will prevent you from being electrocuted. Use a voltage tester to verify that the power is off before you begin working. Wear appropriate safety gear, such as gloves and eye protection, when working with electricity. This will help to protect you from injury. Never work on electrical circuits when you are wet or standing in water. Water is a conductor of electricity and can increase your risk of electrocution. If you are not sure how to do something, ask a qualified electrician for help. It is always better to be safe than sorry. When selecting the location for the electrical box, consider the accessibility of the device that will be installed in it. For example, if you are installing a light switch, you will want to place it in a location that is easily accessible from the doorway. If you are installing an outlet, you will want to place it in a location that is convenient for plugging in appliances. Consider the aesthetics of the installation. The electrical box and its cover plate should blend in with the surrounding decor. Choose colors and styles that complement the rest of the room. If you are installing boxes in a visible location, such as on a wall or ceiling, consider using surface-mounted boxes. These boxes are designed to be mounted directly on the surface and are available in a variety of styles and finishes. When using surface-mounted boxes, be sure to conceal the wiring as much as possible. This can be done by running the wiring through conduit or by using wire molding. If you are installing boxes in a concealed location, such as behind a wall or ceiling, consider using recessed boxes. These boxes are designed to be installed flush with the surface and are virtually invisible. When using recessed boxes, be sure to provide adequate access for wiring and maintenance. This can be done by installing access panels or by using removable cover plates. Always comply with all applicable building codes and regulations. Electrical codes are designed to protect people and property from electrical hazards. Failure to comply with these codes can result in fines, penalties, and even injury or death. If you have any questions about electrical codes or regulations, consult with a qualified electrician or building inspector. When mounting a 1900 box or handy box, it's also important to consider the weight and size of the device or equipment that will be installed in the box. Heavier items may require additional support, such as using a larger box or adding blocking between the studs. Ensure that the box is rated to support the weight of the device. If you are planning to install data or communication cables in the same box as electrical wiring, it's essential to maintain proper separation to prevent interference. Follow the NEC guidelines for separating power and data cables. You might need to use a divider within the box or install separate boxes for each type of wiring. When working with metal boxes, be mindful of sharp edges that could damage wiring insulation. Use cable bushings or connectors to protect the wires as they enter the box. This will prevent shorts and ensure a safe and reliable installation. It's also a good practice to wrap the sharp edges of the box with electrical tape for added protection. If you are installing boxes in an area where there is a risk of physical damage, such as a garage or workshop, consider using boxes made of durable materials like metal or reinforced plastic. These boxes can withstand impacts and prevent damage to the wiring. When mounting the box, ensure that it is flush with the finished wall surface. This will provide a clean and professional look and prevent the cover plate from protruding. You may need to adjust the depth of the box or add shims to achieve the correct alignment. If you are installing multiple boxes in a row, use a level to ensure that they are all aligned horizontally. This will create a more aesthetically pleasing installation. When running wires through studs, use a drill bit that is slightly larger than the diameter of the wire. This will prevent the wire from being pinched or damaged. Be sure to dab the edges of the holes to prevent the wire insulation from being chafed. If you are installing boxes in a fire-rated wall, use fire-rated boxes and follow the manufacturer's instructions for installation. These boxes are designed to prevent the spread of fire and smoke. When working with electrical circuits, always use insulated tools. This will help to protect you from electric shock. Regularly inspect your tools for any signs of damage or wear. Replace any damaged tools immediately. When working with electrical circuits, be aware of the potential for arc flash. Arc flash is a dangerous condition that can occur when electricity jumps from one conductor to another. It can cause severe burns and other injuries. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment such as arc-rated clothing and face shields to protect yourself from arc flash. Always follow safe work practices when working with electricity. This will help to prevent accidents and injuries. If you are unsure about any aspect of electrical work, consult with a qualified electrician. When mounting electrical boxes, take the time to do it right. A properly installed electrical box is essential for a safe and reliable electrical system. By following these tips and guidelines, you can ensure that your electrical boxes are mounted securely and correctly. Remember to always prioritize safety and consult with a qualified electrician if you have any doubts or concerns. It is also a good practice to take photos of the wiring inside the box before closing it up. This can be helpful for troubleshooting problems in the future. Store the photos in a safe place where you can easily access them if needed. Consider using a wire management system to keep the wires inside the box organized and tidy. This will make it easier to work in the box and prevent the wires from becoming tangled or damaged. There are a variety of wire management products available, such as wire ties, cable clamps, and terminal strips. When working with flexible metal conduit, be sure to use appropriate connectors and clamps. Flexible metal conduit can be easily damaged if it is not properly supported. If you are installing boxes in an area where there is a risk of corrosion, use boxes made of corrosion-resistant materials such as stainless steel or fiberglass. These boxes will prevent the formation of rust and other corrosion products. When mounting electrical boxes, be sure to consider the future needs of the electrical system. If you are planning to add more circuits or devices in the future, it is a good idea to install larger boxes that can accommodate the additional wiring. This will save you time and money in the long run. Before commencing any electrical work, familiarize yourself with the relevant sections of the NEC. This will ensure that your work complies with the latest safety standards. The NEC is updated every 3 years, so it is important to stay current with the latest edition. If you are unsure about any aspect of the NEC, consult with a qualified electrician or building inspector. When working with electrical circuits, always be aware of the potential for hazards. Take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others from injury. Electricity can be dangerous, but by following safe work practices and using common sense, you can minimize the risks. Mounting electrical boxes is a common task, but it is important to do it correctly to ensure a safe and reliable electrical system. By following these tips and guidelines, you can mount electrical boxes securely and safely.